attendees on the session. And we also hope that it's going to be interactive, because we believe there is no island of knowledge in this cyberspace issues. We will definitely want to get feedback and your input and what your experience likes, even from your own environment and as an individual. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy the session.
Okay, so good morning. I know I've been told that some people will be joining via projector, and some will be joining via this Zoom call. So I have Mr. Daniel, I have Mr. Sukami Bello, Abimbola Degon, Aleri Dandede, Didi, sorry, Babatunde Bashorun, Dr. Shehu, Hassan Asuku, Grace Elvis, Midyong Shikaru, Nick Koka, Opayemi, and people, I think about 17 people are on the call. I can't mention your name, pardon me. So once again, this is Cybersecurity Association of Nigeria, and we are happy to connect to NIGCOMSAT, one of the agencies or ministry, correct me, under the NCC. If I'm correct, I'm not too sure. So this is the month of October. October is a dedicated month for cybersecurity awareness globally. So as the frontliner cybersecurity group in Nigeria, CSEAN has been engaging, and we also engage some organizations. So that is why you see us on this call today. So the topic of today's engagement is cybersecurity and you. I will take part of the presentation, then Mr. Tunji also will conclude, then we will now have question and answer. So I'm starting right away. Now, so first of all, we need to know that because you are connected in all of these ways, then you are exposed in many ways as well. How are we connected? We are connected to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, bank app, email, e-commerce, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram, through telephone message, TikTok. All of these connect us together. And because of all of this connectivity, we are also exposed as well. So it's good to actually understand where you are exposed so that you can know how to manage your exposure. That is why we call it cybersecurity and you. Okay, so I'll be proceeding. Why a need for you to know about cybersecurity? Why do you need to know? You will be shocked to see all of these statistics, and you will also agree with yourself after all these statistics that it is very important that you know about cybersecurity. There are more than 90% of cybersecurity issues that originated from human error within organizations, not externally. That is, out of 10 organizations who have experienced cybersecurity issues before, 9 out of them experienced because of human error. Please, if you are not talking, please can you mute yourself? Let me see who are the non-mute here, because I'm seeing some background noise coming up. Okay, I'm going to mute you, Mr. Waid, if you don't mind. I will allow you to talk when you, okay, yeah. So sorry about that. So even more alarming, it can take years to discover insider threats because they are so hard to detect, and many of which derive from lack of cyber literacy. So cyber literacy has been blamed for the reason why human error is accountable for majority of cybersecurity issues. So, and that's why we take it upon ourselves to reduce cyber illiteracy in Nigeria. And this is one of the reasons why you are on this call this morning, listen to us, because we want to ensure that our cyber literacy improve in this country, so that we can also integrally help reduce cybersecurity issues that emanate from human error. Okay, so I'll be going to the next slide. Okay, yeah. Also, a need for us, why a need for you business to know about cybersecurity? it has now become factual that most data breaches and cybersecurity was, sorry, I think our system of human error, sorry, ignorance and incompetence. Human have been considered the most effective firewall. Firewall is the wall that has fire. Nobody can lean on firewall. So where if your house is surrounded by firewall, reptiles, insects will not be able to climb because the wall is fire. So nobody nears fire. So human has been considered as the most effective firewall for security of organization digital information. So every firewall needs configuration and tuning. So training and awareness is the only way to configure and tune human firewall. So the only way to adjust up or down to reduce or increase a firewall is to configure it or tune it. So the only way to tune firewall, which is you, human, is to have awareness. So this is also justifying that you are in the right place because you want to see how you can be adjusted to contribute to the protection of your organization information asset. Okay. So it could just be one ignorant or unaware user that hackers need to exploit and attack an organization. Each time there is a root cause analysis after any ransomware attack, any business email compromise, any other form of attack, it has been discovered that users' ignorance and unawareness are the primary and remote cause. Okay, yeah. So taking a cue from ISO 27001, there are international standards that organizations try to follow to manage their business. Some follow standard for quality management, some follow standard for health and safety environment, but the standard that cybersecurity professionals follow is called ISO 27001. So it has so many, one of the sections there is called clause 7.2. And clause 7.2, what did it say? It says that organizations should determine the necessary competence of persons that is doing work under its control that affect information security system. So NIGCOMSAT has complied to this clause as at today. They have identified, they have determined the necessary competence of persons. They have ensured that these persons are competent on the basis of appropriate education, training, and experience. So, and NIGCOMSAT is now saying, these people that you are listening to me today, you need to be cyber aware. And when they do that, they have partially or somehow complied to that clause 7.2 of the ISO standard that governs the way cybersecurity is managed in organization globally. So I want to appreciate the NIGCOMSAT leadership for allowing this event to take place. Maybe they didn't even know that this event that is happening today is actually a compliance to ISO. Maybe they don't know, at least they have seen it now. Okay, few of the cyber attack statistics. These statistics will shock you, and you will agree with me that truly some of them are correct. In terms of cyber attack frequency, hacker attack our devices every 30 seconds. Have we spent 30 seconds on this call today? Yes. That means that somebody somewhere has been attacked. One computer has been compromised. So if you have spent 30 seconds times 10, that means 10 computers or 10 telephone or 10 email or 10 internet users has been compromised as we speak today. That is very correct. So that is why we don't take cyber literacy very lightly. Computers are attacked 2,244 times daily. So by the time it is this 10:20 tomorrow morning, which is 24 hours from today, there will have been 2,244 computers that have been hacked. It's so alarming. So we know all these statistics and we say no. If we can't stop the attacker, then let us just let people see how they can stay away from this attacker. Over 400 million adults across 24 countries experience cyber crimes over 12-month period. That is from this time, 26th of October 2021 to 26th of October 2022, there will have been 400 million adults, which is there will have been two sides of Nigeria who will have experienced cyber attack. It's very serious. So on September 25, 2018, 50 million user accounts on Facebook were compromised. 50 million means 1/4 of Nigeria. That is how 1/4 of Nigeria who have accounts on Facebook were compromised. Probably you have been compromised, you are not aware. Probably the people compromised, you don't see anything interested in your account, so you don't even know that you are compromised. So more than 90% of money mole activity has linked to cybercrime activities. There are some people who are actually professionals. Their job is cybercrime, and they render services to people who hire them. And what they do, they are into a business called crime as a service. They are service provider. We have service provider who repair your car, service provider who give you internet on your phone, like MTN, like Airtel, like Overcom. So we have service provider whose job is cybercrime, and their business is called crime as a service. Per year, do you know the amount of money that is moving around in this kind of business globally? Is $30 million. So these business people who are illegal business people, who are criminal, there are $13 million that is moving around their hands every year because they have been successful in hacking people. So if you do this awareness, we will reduce these activities, then the amount of illegal money in their hands will reduce. Malware for hire. If you are a cyber crook, cyber criminal, and you want to hire malware, you want to hire software that can cause havoc or that can cause destruction of computer. Some people have it and you pay them. Total amount of 11 million naira is in that industry, in that sector of people who have this malware and who rent it out. So can we stop them from making that kind of money? Yes. How? By awareness. Awareness is not the only one, but awareness can also play a role. Then hire hacker as a service. There are some people whose job is to hack, and people pay them to hack. People hire them and they pay. 1.6 billion naira has been generated in this sector of service, which is illegal, which brings sadness and pain and sorrow into the mind of people. So can we do anything to help people who are victims of this hacker as a service? Yes. What can we do? We come up with technology that is fantastic. We come up with awareness so that when people are aware, then they won't fall into their tricks. So this is an alarming. Some people are raising their hands up. Let me find out why. I can see Mr. Abimbola Adigun. Do you want to say something? Abimbola Adigun.
No, sorry.
Your hands was raised up, so I thought.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it was a mistake.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Mr. Waid, your hands was up as well. Okay. So in 2020, this is what happened in an internet minute. That is, in 1 minute on the internet, all of this happened in 2020. 1.3 million people log in on Facebook. 19 million text SMS was sent 2020 in 1 minute on internet. 1.3 million login does not mean that is total login in 2020. In 1 minute in 2020, there are 1.3 million people who log on in 1 minute. 4.7 million video view in 1 minute in last year. So all of this shows that we are all active on internet. And that is why cybersecurity is a big challenge, because a lot of people are very active on internet. In 2021, you can all see, I don't want to waste our time reading through all of them, but this shows how active human beings are on internet. And you'll be surprised that hackers also know this, and they know that they can take their business further if they target all of these active people on internet. Okay. Yeah, so human vulnerability. Vulnerability means having a weakness or having an exposure. Somebody who has wound on his leg, if he passes a pool of dirty water, there is tendency that germs can enter his body through the open wound. That means that person is vulnerable. Somebody who does not have open wound, if he pass through dirty water, chances are there that he will not have any germ into his body because there's no open wound. So vulnerability means things that exposes you, things that opens you up, things that make you an easy target by an attacker. So what are the vulnerabilities that are common to a human being? You will be seeing them now. We have weak password. A lot of us use our name as password, our surname as password, our children name as password. And on Facebook, you celebrate your child. Say, my son, Philip, clock 1 year today. And that same Philip is your password. And another attacker knows that there are 1.4 million people that log on Facebook every day. So you go to Facebook and start searching for people's name and trying it on the password on their account. So maybe if you try 200 accounts using the name of their children, maybe one of them will be successful. You can even do it 200 every day for 1 year. It doesn't matter how long, just for him to gain one. So no lock for both phone and SIM card. If I ask all of us now to talk on this call, that how many of us has lock for our SIM card, not on our phone, I am sure I won't get 3 people who will say yes. We all know how to lock our phone, but the SIM card is not locked. How is SIM card lock or unlock? How is it important? Hackers nowadays or cyber crimes nowadays are not interested in the value of the phone. They're not interested in how much they will sell your phone if they steal your phone. They are interested in your SIM card. Because your SIM card can be put into any phone that if they steal your phone, your phone is locked, they don't mind, they don't bother. They'll open your phone up, bring the SIM card up, put it in their own phone that is not locked, and that *9 so. And the back will say, select the account to transfer the money to. They put their account, and the money goes from your account to their account. But if the SIM card is locked, when you put the SIM card into a new phone, that SIM card will ask for the PIN. And if they don't know the PIN, that's the head. So humans are vulnerable because their phone probably are locked and the SIM card is not locked. So how will you lock your phone? Your SIM card, you will see it as you progress. No knowledge of social engineering, that's another vulnerability. This affects both individual and corporate organization. No knowledge of business email compromise. This is basically for corporate organization. When I say corporate, I mean staff of organization like you are. Okay, online romance. This affects individual. There's no how online romance. There's no how somebody will be a victim of online romance and it's going to affect his company or his business. Okay, no knowledge of strategies to combat phishing. This is an attack, this vulnerability that affects workers who work for organization. Third-party app running on social media accounts. This affects both individual and corporate. Unsuspected and indiscriminate diverge of personal identifying information, corporate and individual. Unprotected bank details and card info, individual and corporate. Indiscriminate sharing of logon details, individual. Too much presence on social media, individual. These are the ways we are all exposed. These are the ways we are all compromised and many more. Now, I'll be talking on business email compromise. This is what is giving Yahoo boys money in Nigeria. This is what is making them to be rich. How many of us follow the story of Obi-Wan Okeke, who was apprehended by FBI last year? The guy was celebrated by Forbes as one of the most successful young entrepreneurs in Nigeria because of his net worth. Forbes knows how to track your account. They don't know how to track your business. This guy was heavily involved in business email compromise. Even Hush Puppy, one of the ways of the way he generates funds is through business email compromise. So what is business email compromise? You will see it now. So business email compromise is an exploit in which the attacker gains access to corporate email account by spoofing the owner's identity to defraud the company of his employee. The word spoofing, I will explain it further, but spoofing simply means make some credential, make some details look like original so that you can use it to deceive people who knows those details. and they will be deceived into thinking that that detail is actually original one, without knowing it's not original. What are the details? Like your email, your phone number. Okay, so customers, okay, in some cases, an attacker simply creates an account with an email address that is very, very, very similar to the one on the corporate network. So BEC are also referred to as man-in-the-middle attack. BEC may also include malware, a kind of a software that is installed on your computer behind your knowledge, behind your consciousness. And that software is called, might be a RAT. A RAT means remote access Trojan. It's a malware that when it's running on your computer, the attacker can remotely connect to you without you knowing it, because that software is a backdoor opener. You can open backdoor for the attacker to enter. Social engineering or a combination of the two. So BEC can also happen to social engineering or can be through malware and social engineering. So the most common victim of BEC are companies that use wire transfer to send money to international clients. Okay, so look at the sample of spoofed email. Let's assume that your company has a domain called NIGCOMSAT.com. So every email will be at, like, for instance, now we will have something like abimbola.ategun@nigcomsat.com. We have dane.aji at nigcom.sat. Then we have sukami.bello@nigcomsat.com. So that is the nigcom.com is your company's domain. Your email address is your full name, first name, last name. So an attacker that wants to spoof your company's email account, he will go and pay money, which is just 8,000 naira or 20,000 naira for the whole year, and he will register his domain as nigcom.net. If he attempts to register his domain at nigcom.sat, the domain registrar will say, sorry, we can't give you nigcom.sat because it's already taken. Somebody has paid for it. But these are the available ones. They will give you something similar. If you try it now on your computer, you will see that any domain you choose to register, you will see the one that is taken, you see the one that is available. So attacker will say, okay, fine. nigcomsat.net is available. Let me pay for that. Just pay 20,000 naira. And he knows that the CFO, the Chief Financial Officer, his name is Olawale.Oyinola. So he will go and create an email called olawale.oyinola@nigcomsat.net. Or if the CEO or your MD or your director or the number one boss in your company, if his name is Olawale.Oyinola, the attacker will create Olawale.Oyinola@nigcomsat.net. So when he send an email to the CFO that please pay so person so million of naira, if the CFO is not careful to know very well that what ends the email is not .com, is .net, and if he sees the first name and last name, he might think that that email is legitimately coming from the CEO or MD or director. So this is when we say emails are spoofed. Okay. Now, so how do we prevent this? We'll be seeing it from as we progress. But one of the ways, what we advise organizations is that we advise them to buy off all the similar domain. Buy off means pay for them, and you'll be paying for them every year. For what? Just to pay for them, so that when somebody wants to buy them, it will show that it's available. And with that, you have actually at least saved your company from being spoofed, your company's domain from being spoofed. At least you just pay. For instance, now when we talk to organizations, we say, okay, if you have money, the money is not much, maybe 15,000 or 10,000 naira per year. So if you can pay for 10 domains that are similar to you, then know that no attacker will come and create something close to your own domain. Okay. So business email compromise. Who is being targeted? These are the people being targeted. Chief Operating Officer, they are the number one target. Chief Financial Officer, Human Resources, Finance, and Payroll. But the most targeted person is Chief Financial Officer. It's the one that authorizes payment to vendors or to clients or to a third party. They are the number one target. But one of the major intentions of the attacker who focuses on BEC is to gain money. In the olden days, attackers attack to show that they are smart so that they can be recognized. Attackers are act because they are act for the government, and the government is waging cyber war with another government. But nowadays, the motive behind all those hacking and attacking is monetary gain. That is why BEC is one of the new ways of attacking and is targeting chief financial officer. Okay, so two things that make BEC to be successful up to this point is what is called stressor and sweetener. Stressor and sweetener. Sweetener is what makes it to be sweet. Stressor is what stresses or what emphasizes or what give weight or what promotes something. So a stressor event is anything that can make the receiver's emotion override their normal skeptical attitude. Now, if I am a CFO and I got an email from my MD to pay money somewhere, I would naturally want to think that could this be from MD? But if the email is carrying some stressor, like I need to do this in as soon as possible. If you are that guy who is not bold, who is timid, you might not want to go and start asking CEO questions. You just want to act on it straightly. If that happens, that means that the BEC attacker has included a stressor in the compromised email that is sent to CFO, because CFO who could have woken up, who could have been skeptical, couldn't be skeptical because there is a stressor in the body of the email. Or if the bill or if the invoice is not paid immediately, the commission or the government or the contractor or our client will not get what it requires to engage Ministry of Power. Okay, we want to do a business with share, we want to do a business with social person, we want to do, but if you don't pay this vendor, we won't be able to do that business. Please pay immediately. So that will override the skeptical attitude of the person who actions payment of vendor, and then it will not fall for the victim. The sweetener is things that look so appealing, so encouraging. For example, receiver, if you are able to make this payment quickly, your performance ranking will be high. For those who are able to carry out their tasks on time, they are always giving end of the year bonus, all kind of sweetener. Then the staff who is being attacked will lose his sense of being skeptical and they just fall for BEC scam. Okay, so that's about BEC scam. So useful tips to watch out for whenever you receive an email. How do you know if this email is legitimate? Not all of them can be known through this mail I want to teach you, but at least most of them. Now the email has an header, and it has the email account itself, and it has the time, it has to, and it has subject. The header of the email is showing Nigerian satellite communication, account payable specialist. That's what shows like the title of the email, like the header. But the real, when you see mail to, or when you click on, when you got an email, for instance, that you should do something and you are not sure whether the email is correct, try and click on reply. When you click on reply, move your mouse to that email address and check very well. Check, is it .com that ends it or .net? Is our own .com or .net? Look at all those information. Or do you see something that is quite different from your company's email? When you click to, or if you do not click to, I didn't say when you click to click send. Don't click send though. Just click reply alone. Just click reply, but don't click send. When you click reply, you will see more details. Or even before you click reply, just move your mouse small on that email address. You will see something come up called pop-up. That pop-up will show you the real email address behind the one that is showing like it is from NIGCOMSAT. So that is how to identify. But if you can't do all these things and your mind is telling you that this email seems suspicious, please call your IT people to come and also have a look at it. So I have explained all these things to you before. We have the header is called NIGCOM. The real email is service to. So how, now that I move my mouse to it now, do you see what is coming up? Can you see it? It's mail to service code asp.panama.com. Your mail is supposed to be something at nigcomsat.com.ng. Why is the mail from the CEO is not showing esp.permanent.com? That means that CFO email has been compromised. Okay. So how to survive BEC? Make email verification standard operating procedure. Whenever there is an email sent to you to do something, and that thing you have to do will require your organization to have some commitment, or to make some payment, or to agree, or to share some documents, or to just try to ensure you verify the email. Then contact whoever that is making the request via another medium. If the email is sent to you to make payment, don't confirm from the person using email. Use telephone call, use WhatsApp, use SMS, use something different from the email that was used to contact you to get the second confirmation. Then have multiple signing off on transaction. Don't beat your organization on single sign-on. Don't let one person be the one that will sign the money. Let there be different workflow, different approval processes. So at least the attacker will find it difficult to beat almost all of this. But if it is just one person that signs everything, once that person is beaten, the attacker has already made up with money. Train and test employee. Thanks to NIGCOMSAT again for training their employee, but also test. Just send an email, behave an attacker. Just do something that attacker will have done, and let's see how people will respond. Then from there, you'll be able to know, as your training and awareness being effective. If not, then improve on it further. Implement email security software, then contact or consult cybersecurity expert for advice. At times, if you don't have cybersecurity experts in your company, you have only IT, you can consult them to give you an advice. Some of them will say that's a business, pay them. Some of them will say we can do it for any free of charge. So how to make your password strong and hard for hackers to crack? Number one, don't use dictionary words. Don't use something like Kingsley. Don't use something like together, something like going. Don't use it. Avoid it. Use different passwords on different accounts. Don't let the same password you use on Facebook to be the same on Twitter, the same on Instagram. The reason is that if the attacker attack Facebook, he can attack the remaining ones. Use two-factor authentication. Always use, there are three authentication factors. But use 2 out of the 3. One of them is what you know, such as password. Then who you are. Who you are means your password and your fingerprint. Your password and fingerprint. And the third one is what you know, who you are. And Mr. Tunji, remember the third one, if you don't mind. Mr. Tunji. Tunji, are you there? Okay, so who you are, who you are, what you have, and what you know. Okay, yeah. Who you have, what you have, and what you know. What you have is the token that the bank gives to you. Maybe that token, when you press it, one number will show. So always use 2-factor authentication, either what you know or who you are. Or if you want to use the same thing, ensure that you don't use them on the same medium. Okay, use a password manager in case you have so many online presence and you have so many applications online and the password is becoming too much for you to manage. You can use password manager. I won't recommend anyone, but these are the common ones. But I am not recommending any one of them because attackers also focus on this software, my password manager. And once they're able to hack one password manager, then they have hacked so many. So it's not, I won't say this is the best, but at least these 2 are common. Then create a passphrase. For example, a password that's supposed to be "let me in into my bank." It can be constructed as let. The let now, the E of the let has been changed to 3. Me in, the M is capital M. Then E in the me are also changed to 3. The I in into has changed to 1. And to, which is supposed to be TO, is now changed to 2. Then the A in the bank is now at. So see the way I have constructed let me into my bank. So with this one, attacker will find it difficult to guess. or something is my best friend can be the 5 is the S, the art is the A, the M is the M, the 5 is the S, 0 is the O or something, and N. 1 and 5 is my best friend. So use passphrase, but ensure that some of the words are changed to number, especially the words that are close to specific, especially the numbers that are close to specific words. For instance, 3 is an E, they look alike. 5 and S look alike. 1 and I look alike. So this is TO, and 2, they look alike. Art and A, they look alike. So you look for a way to ensure that you use a passphrase instead of a password. SIM card security. I've also told you that, let me give you an example of somebody who actually was let go of the company. The guy is the accountant of the company, is the one that pay all the vendors money. Some people have met with him that let's do deal, and he refused. So one day he was in the office, he has logged on, and his phone rang. He wanted to talk, and he doesn't want to talk in the office. So he left the office to go to the corridor and talk. Before he came back, somebody went to his computer, and the person sent an email to HR, and the person resigned on his behalf. So when HR received the email, HR sees that this Mr. Accountant has resigned. And this accountant did not know that his computer has been used to send a resignation letter to the HR. So in the evening, he was called for exit interview. He was like, why are you calling me for exit interview? He said, but you resign. I said, no, I didn't resign. No, you resign. You sent out an email. He said, no, I didn't resign. See the email you sent to us. You resign. He said, no, I didn't send it, but this mail is coming from you. How come your email send the mail to us? Do you know why person did this? Because he forgot to lock his computer. As this seems like a joke, but it's true. So ensure your SIM card is locked. So the default pin for SIM card is 0000 or 111. But don't begin the process of locking your SIM card without knowing your SIM POC. Because if you try this pin more than 3 times, your SIM card will be locked, and you will need the SIM POC. That's personal or sometimes personal unlock code. Sorry, phone unlock code. You will need this phone unlock code to unlock your SIM. So if you don't know your POC number, first of all, call your GSM operator, ask them to give you your unlock code, then begin to now put PIN on your SIM. All of the Yahoo guys that have been busted and have been paraded by Nigerian police, all of them have been successful by putting their victim SIM card in another phone. So don't be the next victim of these Yahoo boys. I've seen some of them, they are referrals, they are not even educated. So how can all those Igbo educated boy, come to chop our money? No formaga. Okay, so at this point, I will leave the remaining part of the presentation to my colleague, Mr. Toji, who will continue from there. Mr. Toji, over to you.
Thank you for quite an exciting session. Would you like to make me co-host?
Okay, let me do that, please. A minute. Mr. Tunji.
Thank you so much. That's quite exciting, and I believe that we have been able to pick 1 or 2, points, especially when it talks about the
sorry, I can't make it co-host, but I will be scrolling down for you. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry.
Yeah, so he asked me to rejoin, so I think that's why.
Yeah. Okay. So we can hear you now.
Okay. Let me try and quickly share the screen.
No, don't worry. I will be scrolling down for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's fine. Also, thank you. When Mr. Alabody was talking about us, ensuring that we lock our screen before we walk away from our workstation, It is very, very important because it also boils down to the principle of trust but verify. In a corporate entity, when you're in a corporate environment or official environment, whether public or private sector, you can't blindly trust everybody, within your, even though you have friends within your office environment, you have colleagues who are very close to. That doesn't also mean that you should, trust them blindly. In the course of consulting, what Mr. Labode said, I've done that before when we're implementing as do 701 for a corporate organization. And we've trained them on security education, never walk away without locking your screen. And one of the staff just walked away, and I got there and I sent email to HR and tell the HR to help him process his registration letter. It was a very tough one. In fact, it was a very, very tough one for him. So those are also part of, security education and awareness. But that's just by the way, just to buttress more on what Mr. Labode has mentioned. So let's move to romance scam. The amount lost, the global amount lost. Also, this cannot even be overemphasized because I'm quite sure that the amount lost to romance scam is way beyond this. If you look at, the recent statistics, the numbers of reports, you can see the numbers of reports, report with financial loss. So when we talk about romance scam, most of the time, it's more like talking about identity theft. A romance scam is a confidence trick involving romance detection towards victim, gaining their affection, and then using that goodwill to commit fraud. So sometimes it boils down to some of the skills the attacker use in this method is identity theft. So what do I mean by identity theft? For instance, the Yahoo boys will definitely, if I tell you today that if your Facebook account is hacked, if your Facebook account is asked and by way you lose your account, recently now it's being sold for like around 25,000 naira. This is from intelligence information. Vary from how many years has your account been in existence. If it's a very long year account, the hacker can be negotiating between 30 to 40K. Because so what they will use is that they will make sure they delete all your pictures, the information you have on that account, and they perhaps just upload another, somebody they've been able to. That's why most of the time it's also not always very good to leave too much footprint on social media. And if you have so much information on social media, make sure you lock them. When you lock them, you lock your images so that people can't easily just get access to them. So some of these guys, what they do is that they look at one very good-looking white guy, download all the pictures they can actually get of him on the internet, and the Facebook of somebody that they've hacked in Nigeria, they will now use that to upload that new images and using that to commit what we call romance scam. They started talking to maybe a white, and even this is also happening in Africa too. It's not peculiar to foreign nation. There are also a romance scam within Africa jurisdiction where you chat with unknown people, they get acquainted. So it also comes with a bit of social engineering skills. What do I mean by social engineering skills? Hacking of the mind. When you say hacking of the mind, somebody who is trying to just, hack the human factor, hack into the mind of someone. This is no longer technical hacking now. Hacking of the mind. Someone who is trying to communicate with you in a manner where, you can easily persuade you, their profile as scanty, they work fast, romance camera try to move online, romance forward as fast as possible, they move the conversation to another side. So once they have been able to have a very good conversation with you, maybe on social media, either Facebook or Instagram, whichever social media account that they have been able to gain access, they can just tell you that, oh, I want to be very much committed to you. I don't want to start talking to somebody else. Let's move to WhatsApp. Let's be exchanging emails, So these are some of what they actually do. I know, the success factors of that, within our own, jurisdiction can be compared to how much of how successful it was. I mean, it is in the developed nation. The foreign nation, they easily fall prey of this particular romance scam. So they can meet you in person. You even have instances of Yahoo boys who have been able to bring, foreigners to the country through romance scam, through just online romance scam. They could start with using somebody identity theft, But by the time they know that they have really got into a conversation with that person and they've established a very deep closeness, they can come outside and reveal their identity. And in the course of that, the person might even just look at it and say, well, why did you lie to me? Why did they find their way to work around it, and they still continue in that same conversation. So we must be very careful of romance scam, and especially for people in government environment. You have to be very, very careful of this, because it can also start from romance scam to spear phishing attack. Romance scam, we will still talk about spear phishing attack. Romance scam can also lead someone to spear phishing attack. So let's move on, Mr. Labode. So sometimes social engineering, what is you no knowledge of social engineering? I think I mentioned about that too, where I was talking about romance scam. Social engineering is the hacking of the mind, and there is something there's a term in cybersecurity that we call patch management. When for instance, if you are using Microsoft systems within your environment, if there is a new patch that has been released, there is a possibility of your IT guys releasing the patch to all system after they have taken the patch. But then, how do we what is there is no patch management to human stupidity. There is no patch management to human weakness. So how do you now patch for human weakness? That is where security education and awareness come, constant and continuous security education and awareness. Social engineering is the use of deception to manipulate individuals to divulge their confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. Yes, from romance scam to social engineering, disguise bank staff scheme. Some people can disguise as bank staff scheme and put a call across to you and tell you that, oh, the bank is having so downtime, in order for you to access bank services, kindly make use of this link. Or they can even be telling you that, oh, the bank is trying to do BVN verification. Kindly, provide your BVN details so that they can actually authenticate you. These are also some of the social engineering, and you will still find it hard to believe that people are still falling for it. As much as you can think that, that this should not happen, but people are still falling, for that particular method. So GSM operator call or SIM swap, this is also called SIM swap. There's also a SIM swap. All that the attacker needs to have is enough information to convince your GSM customer support agent that they are used. So if they have been able to gain access to your, maybe by stealing somebody's phone, they've been able to do a drill down reconnaissance on that particular SIM, and they're able to get certain information they can provide to the operator to gain further information about that SIM. This is also another method of the attack. WhatsApp hijack, that is also very careful. When you are in a WhatsApp group that has multitude of people, you must ensure that you are very careful about all the links that are posted in that particular group. Because there's opportunity where attacker also hijack WhatsApp. So you must be very careful of all the links or WhatsApp group that you find yourself. Sometimes you find yourself in a WhatsApp group and you'll be wondering, how did I get here? If you know that this you can't really relate with it, immediately kindly exit. And also when you are in a WhatsApp group where you know that you are fully active there, ensure that constantly the admin person is very, very careful and monitoring all the information that comes to the page, so that somebody don't just paste a malicious link and begin to hijack people WhatsApp accounts. We also have the GSM operator in the local market asking vulnerable local people to release their SIM card for exchange for default. So these are also very conventional. I've tackled this particular issue with one of the service providers before. How do we verify those who go on the road and tell you they are your vendor? Who go on the road and say, you can easily buy your 4G SIM? How do we verify them? What are the basic, this process cannot continue like this, because people who are not aware, the market woman who doesn't have this much of information that we have, how do we protect them? So these are also very, you don't just go somewhere and just say, because you are on 3G SIM, you want to buy 4G SIM, and just get it from a roadside person, without adequate, validation to authenticate that they are really, a partner or a vendor of that particular service provider. So faking legitimate online sites, these are also very, these are very prevalent. These are very big tools in the hand of cyber criminals. Just as Mr. Labode was mentioning the other time, when people buy different domain, that is why you will see most banks, they buy almost every possible domain they can buy. that are peculiar to their business, so that one cyber criminal will not just go and host, one particular internet banking of their their internet banking offshore and still be using one particular domain credentials. So this is also very careful. You must pay close attention to online, especially the URLs. You have to pay close attention to URLs. Sometimes it can just be single letter. Maybe, for instance, like Mr. Labode has actually retweeted on that. You pay attention to all the parameters of that particular, site to be sure that you are not landing, because it doesn't take a cyber criminal 20 minutes to even do, what we call the site imaging. You can easily just get a tools to download every information you have on your site and image it on a in an HTML format. And they host one malicious, they get one malicious domain and they upload all the same file data. If you go there, it is exactly the same thing that you meet on that particular legitimate site that you meet there too. The only difference is that the domain name might be a little bit different. The one parameter, one letter might be a little bit different. And if you don't pay close attention, and that particular website can even be a malicious one, whereby a lot of virus has been hosted. Once you click on them, they're already on your system. That's when you talk about man in the middle attack, man in the browser attack, code injection, extension add-ons. This might be a little bit technical, but then you must be very careful of a site that you visit. So how do we survive social engineering? For bank staff, when you got a call from a suspected bank staff, ask the person to call back. Then you call your bank. So these are also very important when you get information from somebody, trying to disguise as members of the staff of the bank, where probably you have, you even be sure sometimes that the bank that you don't even transact with, somebody can easily call you and tell you that you have an account with this particular bank, and you'll be wondering. And when you even have have an account with that particular bank, be very careful of how you divulge informations. Ensure that your personally identifiable information, that is what we call PII, that GSM customer, staff, or support agent will ask you to identify yourself, are not everywhere on social media. So when we talk about digital footprinting, attackers are very, very intelligent in their skill. They are not dullard. They are very, very intelligent people who, if they have perhaps channeled their skills to something legitimate, maybe they will be doing better for themselves. Because somebody who takes time to do reconnaissance on somebody for a week, trying to gather as much information about that particular person just for a single attack, you can really tell how intelligent that person is. So let's limit the numbers of information that we post on social media, where we work, our office settings. You don't just begin to relay those information on social media. You have to be very, very careful, because you are not only trying to protect yourself alone. As much as you're trying to protect yourself, you're also trying to protect your corporate entity, your co-staff, by ensuring that you are not divulging too much information, about yourself, about your work, even about our life. So it is very, very key. When contacted by a suspicious service provider, says person or staff of an organization you do business with, you will be told that a code will be sent to you. If the code is reviewed, your WhatsApp account will be hijacked. So these are also basic, method that these guys are also used to ensure that they hijack WhatsApp. And once you disclose the code to them over the phone, so these are just ensuring that you pay close attention to every information that you receive, and you know what information you can relate to a service provider person or somebody who's
Mr. Toji, can I just share experience of one of my colleagues, just a few minutes?
Okay.
Yeah. Someone else, do you know that if you buy a new phone now and you want to create a WhatsApp account, you will be told to put your phone number on WhatsApp as you have installed WhatsApp, and your WhatsApp will be asking so many questions. It's going to ask you to put your phone number. When you put your phone number, WhatsApp will send the code to you through SMS. You will put in that code on WhatsApp to complete your WhatsApp registration. So one hacker somewhere got a new phone, install WhatsApp. When it get to the point of putting the phone number, he put my colleague's phone number on that WhatsApp. And the code to complete the process was sent to my friend as SMS. So he didn't understand the meaning of that code. So the hacker now call him, say you are getting a code for you to join a Zoom meeting for the PTA of your daughter's school. That if you don't, we need to confirm that that number you have is actually the number that will enable you to join the Zoom meeting for your daughter's PTA's meeting. So my colleague ignorantly told the hacker the number. The hacker just used that number to complete the WhatsApp installation. So that means that the hacker has installed WhatsApp on a new phone using my friend's phone number. So the WhatsApp on my friend stopped working immediately. And this hacker now have access to all the conversation this my friend has had before, even the group messages, the group account he has belonged to. And this attacker now went to the group and be sending message to people that is sick in the hospital, he needs some money, and people started donating money. It was later they called him that, why can you be going to the message to the group and be announcing that you are sick? You could have called us directly. Guy said, I'm not sick now. So, but we saw you on WhatsApp asking. He checked his WhatsApp. The last time he got message on the WhatsApp was almost 5 hours ago. So he asked somebody to send him a message on WhatsApp. They sent. He said, I didn't see the message. He said, I've sent it. So the message went to the hacker. So this is trying to say that whenever you get a code on your phone as an SMS and somebody call you to divulge that code, don't do that. Don't do that. Thank you, Mr. Tunji.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that practical input, which is very, very key. Let's move on. Which is very, very key. Trust but verify, like I mentioned, trust but verify. So no knowledge of social engineering, you can see now, energycommission.com is available. You can see how this guy can actually, maliciously host an online fake website. In the same name, you can see more domain to consider: energycommission.net, energycommission.online. And so, somebody who is not very savvy, who does not pay close attention, who does not understand the principle of trust but verify, can just see if he's working in an environment where the name is just Energy Commission. He might not pay attention to the rest of the of the URL. And just once he saw the Energy Commission, he just click on all the necessary information. The guys can even begin to add new features. They can even add new features that make the site more interactive and interesting, and it will begin to submit, credentials, information, personally identifiable informations. So we must pay close attention. This is also a form of social engineering that attackers actually use in carrying out their malicious intention. So let's talk about phishing. What is phishing? Phishing attacks is an advanced method of social engineering. It's a technical way of social engineering. For instance, the domain that was shared in the recent in the last page, is just a way of carrying out the phishing attack. Particularly for phishing method. So hosting a new domain in the name of that particular company, but from an offshore or a different service or a different domain service provider is one of those things that attackers use. So phishing is a fraudulent practice of sending email purporting to be from reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal personal information such as password and credit card numbers, or do a background installation of a remote access Trojan. We call RAT. I think Mr. Olabo also mentioned something about RAT as a backdoor to stick in organization. Today we call, for over years in cybersecurity, phishing has been classified as what we call APT. What do I mean by APT? Advanced persistent threat. Phishing is very prevalent in the hand of cyber criminal. It is very, very prevalent. Every day, what numbers of phishing email that goes out is over millions. It's not all I want to say is millions of emails that goes out, for phishing links. And if you're not very careful about it, and we also now have another advanced way we call the spear phishing attack. What do you mean by spear phishing attack? This is targeted about HNI, targeted at HNI. What do you mean by HNI? The high network individual in the corporate environment, in the society, in the banking system, even in corporate, in public sectors, directors, directors that they know that they own their decision makers. So spear phishing is targeted at them, and in such a manner that somebody can easily just spoof the email of a director, maybe of the board, and spoof their email and send it to and once he has spoofed the email, he can craft it. There is what we call emailer. There is a particular tool called emailer, DK emailer. There are many of them. You can even do that in Kali Linux, that way you can actually send that particular email that if they don't have anti-spoofing system within their environment, the email will land on the CFO, email account, and it can even be for an authorization of payment, or somebody who has sent a link to an email, maybe to a staff, who ignorantly click on it, and when they clicked on it, it's a remote access Trojan that gives the attacker access to the system. So the attacker will be moving laterally within the network. It can even begin to inject other malicious code within the network that can spread across the company, all system infected. It can even be ransomware. It can even be for ransomware. Once it's spread on the network, it can lock not even the company user system. Now it can even lock down the server. Lock down the server of the company just by phishing email, or possibly just create a remote access where it's monitoring all activities of the company. It knows the vendor that they are working with. It knows the time they wanted to make payment. So it knows when they can easily send an email to say, oh, kindly initiate the payment to this particular account. We have an issue with this particular account we have been using to transact with you. These are also methods attacker can actually. So ensuring a legal attachment in your email and not click, especially if you are expecting one. You must be very careful about links that you receive, attachment that you receive. You must pay close attention to them. Sometimes you can even, if you are very savvy, you can copy. You can, if you have a sandbox system on your system, like something called sandbox, where you can download some malicious content, something that you are not very careful of. I mean, you are not very certain of, and you are being wary about it. You can download them to that sandbox and use something we call virus total, upload it there, or particularly copy the URL that send that email to you, the email header, check the email header, and copy that particular URL, paste it on virus total to check if any of the antivirus social engine, because virus total has a lot of antivirus search engine. So if one doesn't pick it, another one can pick it based on the signature of that particular malicious content. So they can tell you that, oh, this is a malicious link, this is a malicious file, do away with it. So this is very, very important. You can over any hyperlinks in the email to see the actual hyperlink. So this is another thing. So I think Mr. Labode mentioned about this hyperlinking. When you try to use your mouse to hover about the link to see if it's redirecting you to a new address. So which may not match. For instance, the link may say cashflow.com, but actually to a fake address like Cashflow. You can see you can see how the attacker are very intelligent in their hacks. So these are very, very key security education that we must have in mind. Always report the suspected phishing email to your entity. Very important. The major reason why we have consistent and prevalent cyber attack is that most security issues are not reported. Most security issues are not reported, even from governance to public sector to private sector environment. That is why most of the time it's hard for us to have a statistics of how much of attack corporate and even private sector and public sector are facing on a daily basis. So you must report to the IT so that they can be sure that that particular attack is not a targeted attack, it's not a mass broadcast phishing attack. The network system has not been infected. They can also do incident management, for them to do an incident management to see if they can even trace the route of the attacker, if it is within or international attack. So that the amount of countermeasure they will need to adopt will be determined by understanding, oh, is it a local cyber criminal, international cyber criminal? Is it somebody that we can actually prosecute or pursue if you're able to get artifacts to determine who the attacker is? So this is very, very key. Anti-phishing training should be regular, very, very key. Even within your environment, you can begin to simulate phishing attack. You can do simulations. If your IT staff can begin to do internal simulation to understand security education of your staff, to know who among them can easily fall prey, so that concentration of security education to that person will be more. So and also evaluate your performance evaluation for security education. Managing your personal identifiable information. So when we talk about PII, we're talking about personally identifiable information, suspected so these are very, very key. Nigeria protection regulation, this is very key. This law is already there talking about protecting the data of the country citizen. Organization now says citizen PI. This is very, very key. People sell, these are some of what is going on in the world today now. Data is now like, data is even more, it's the global resources, more than even the oil of the nation now, because data is the latest oil that the world is making. That is why people, when you talk about data analysis, data science, because data is key. Data is key. And if you go to the dark web today, what they said in dark web is data for millions of dollars. Well, that is what they said in the dark web. Data that can easily publish, data that can actually, take down corporate organization, data that can actually make organization, lose customer confidence. These are very, very key. So we must ensure that we protect, and even legal action. Some people will take legal action against companies and say, why is my data outside there? My personal identifiable information. These are very, very key, and we must ensure that we will protect personal identifiable information. Medium through which PII data get to the hand of a PII merchant, illicit website, like we said, when you fill up a form on maybe on a lottery site, on a fake website, indiscriminate email messaging, when somebody tell you that, oh, for you to receive your next KEDA in winning $2 million, forward this message to so, and ignorance, that person forward it as well, that you are helping, you are not becoming a cyber criminal campaigner. You are joining the cyber criminal to campaign, for their malicious intention. Hacked phone, when phone is also hacked, whether by malicious purpose or by, theft, these are also one of the way medium whereby attackers is able to sell, PII to merchant digital marketers. PII repository app, Truecaller, Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter. So these are also, so that is why you must be very careful of the kind of information you post on some of these repository apps. Today now somebody, if an unknown number called you, and all you need to just do is to just probably just go to Truecaller and validate who that person is, to know if this person that you really want to talk to. Or so these are also some of the way attackers also sell information to cyber criminals. We also have the dark web, which is a bit of advanced and very technical. Security says much of what we do on the open web is 4%. As much as this web that you and I surf, as big as it is, much of what we do there is just 4%. But the remaining 96% goes down in the dark web. That is where the real, cyber criminals and, cyber issues going on. So we must be very, very careful of information we relay about ourselves. So malicious websites, managing malicious websites, how do we manage malicious websites? So when we say malicious website, is a site that attempt to install malware, like I mentioned the other time. Some site when you go to them, if you don't have endpoint security solution in place, if you're, for instance, in your corporate environment, there is no endpoint security solution that can detect some websites malicious signature based, you can just be surfing on a particular web page. Maybe you are doing a research and you're just surfing different sites to gather more information about what you're doing, and you don't even know that you're already on a malicious website. You can have code injection, you can have man in the browser attack, man in the middle attack, extension hard done, security, browser security changes. They can even change your security browsers, the settings, that everything you are doing on website or anytime you come online, they have the database. They're already there to, even if you go and clear your cookies and what have you. It's also very important to talk about that. So when you go on this on websites, you know that you have done a lot of research work and you have done a lot of work. If there is any particular site that you still want to make reference to, you can bookmark it. But always ensure that you go to your history to clear your cookies and catch it. It's very, very important, so that you will not be leaving a trail of, a trail for attackers to come back to that system. Because there's something called cookie poisoning. Those are a little bit technical, that are a bit technical. When you talk about cookie poisoning, there are some of, skills in the hands of attackers. Always keep your computer software update, very, very key. Ensure that your operating system is up to date. I was talking about the patch management, and also make sure you patch people by security education and constantly, continuously. You can even have an internal communication for security education, which can be weekly. because you can't go wrong. See, if every organization can invest hugely in security education, much more than technology you are buying, you will get a lot of things right. A lot of things will be right, because most of the time we focus on buying tools, but we don't teach people the little mistake they can make with those tools. And the tools, they are configured by human beings too. So when it's not well managed and well used, you just realize that tools are not effective, and malwares are still crawling within our environment. Update your software, prevent them from a low-hanging vulnerability. Yes, very key when you talk about low-hanging vulnerability, and vulnerability that we don't pay attention at. We don't pay attention at those vulnerabilities. We consider them low. But if an attacker is able to gain access to them and escalate his privilege, it can do more damage. So that is also now come with about your risk management, organization risk management. How do you manage your risk internally? Don't install code unless you're absolutely unless you are absolutely positive that they are safe. Very key. Don't open email that seems suspicious or spam. Very, very, very key. Ensure that you don't just open email that are spam email. Don't trust but verify. Stop, think before you connect. So that's one particular mantra we have. Is stop, think, connect. So stop, think before you click on any link. If the website seems off, looks like installing something or asking permission to install, be very, very careful when you go to a particular website that is telling you before you can actually access particular information, you have to install. Be very, very careful. Sometimes they have malicious intention. So ransomware attack, well, this is also another one. It can also come in from phishing method. The global financial loss to ransomware attack is, this is even much more than this 10 million pounds that we are talking about. It's a very, personally, I've seen 2 companies in Nigeria that have to go and investigate ransomware attack. And the funniest part is that when the attacker now wanted to attack them, they attacked them during Salah. Everybody was on holiday. And the Salah holiday now falls from Wednesday to I know that weekend was also inclusive somehow in that. So it was a long holiday. So that was when the attacker was able to hack into the system. So everything that they wanted to do that can even give an insight to maybe a 90% spotting that particular attack was not there. So they locked down their backup server, locked down their repository. It was very, when I got there, I was like, wow, we try a lot of, so ransomware attack is very prevalent, and it's also come from phishing. Phishing can also be a source of ransomware attack. So ransomware attack is a form of malware that encrypts victim files. The attacker then demands a ransom from the victim. So most of the time, they tell you to pay through Bitcoin. So we have via phishing farm, security vulnerability exploit. So security, when you don't have security update, for instance, we have a blue keep vulnerability on your system. You have a NotPayer security vulnerability. You have a thermal blue vulnerability. This can also easily lead to an attacker gaining access to some system and locking some particular files down. Locking particular server or system down. I've talked about phishing, security vulnerability. So these vectors are more aggressive. Yes, very, very aggressive, because they come with some very, very highly skilled security testing skills. When you test systems to know the vulnerability within the system itself, and how much of attack you can actually use that to gain, how much of exploit you can actually launch, to further enhance the attack. So let's move on. Ransomware often deployed as part of a larger attack that may involve penetration of the network, healthcare, stealing of credentials for critical system accounts, attack on the backup, administration console, data theft. So for a very sensitive environment like yours, you don't want to play catch up with something like this particular attack, because they know that you are owning a critical infrastructure, you are housing a critical infrastructure, or you are a regulatory body to a house that also hold critical infrastructure. So you don't want to play catch up with some of these prevailing attacks. So how do you prevent ransomware attack? Like we talked, patch management. You must have an in-house patch management policy. So sometimes you don't even release your patch until you test them. So we also have patch testing so that you don't just go and release patch to your system and you cripple service too, or you by that even introduce some vulnerability to the system again. So you must also, but your operating system must be patched and up to date. Don't install software or give it an administrative privilege unless you know exactly what. So somebody cannot just come in from his house and say, oh, maybe at my leisure time, I have some software I can run on the system that I can be using to watch free movie. It's a key way to vulnerability within the system. You must be very, very careful, and that now has to do with your acceptable use policy. In that acceptable use policy, what is acceptable? That people stack can even make use of. Install antivirus software with detect malicious programs. So endpoint security solution is also very key. I've mentioned that. And of course, backup. You can't go wrong with backup. You can do offsite and onshore backup. You can even have a cloud backup system. When you know that you are housing the critical data, your backup strategy must be up and running, so that you have what we call redundancy. Should in case there is an attack, nobody is saying there is no 100% security. So should in case there is an attack, you have a failover system that you can actually use to recover. So this won't stop a malware attack. So thank you for your time. We have gone to the Q&A. I believe it's been quite exciting. You might also want to make one or two inputs, or you want to ask one or two questions. Over to you, Mr. Labodi. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tunji, and thank you, our audience, for listening. So it is now our turn to ask questions. I think I'm unmuting you guys now, so you can ask questions. And for those of us who are in the hall listening, we can also ask questions through anybody who connects there. So, Mr. Waid, over to you and your team now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. I want to say hello?
Hello, I can hear you. Yeah, your voice.
Seems to see your voice, sir.
Your voice has gone down again. Oh.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you better. And I think it's better, but not other fantastic.
Thank you for the presentation. And maybe you should do my video as well, so that people can see. You can see people in the hall as they ask the question. So, is there anybody with questions?
I can't see the video. Where's the video? Can I see the video of people in the hall?
I'm not enabling the NIGCOMSAT. It's enable the video. You are enabling the video.
You said? I didn't get you.
My video cannot be enabled because it was disabled from your end.
Okay. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can enable it. Okay, go ahead with the question. If there's any question.
Any questions, please?
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning, my colleagues. Okay, my question goes like this. In a way where, in an organization where there is no, even the operating system they use is not genuine, how can you prevent hackers from attacking? That's one. Okay.
Sorry, let me get that one very well. He said, I didn't get it very well. What's the question?
I said in an organization where most of their apps or most of the operating systems are not genuine, okay, how can you prevent hackers or TOS from attacking your network or something?
Okay.
So, number two. Okay, number two, please. Engineer Aminu is my name. I just want to find out, especially for students. In a student, most time you want to get
used to some applications, softwares. And most times, these softwares are very expensive. If you have to have the full rights and you need to pay for it, but the payment means it's not there. And in such a case, trying to get a free ones, how free are such free softwares that can be free from malicious intention? That's number one. Then number two, of recent, you see that most times, some things that they send to either your phone, text message, or emails are catchy. They will say you can easily win this if you send so and so to 20, 30 people in your group. And at times, the temptation is so high that one cannot easily avoid it. What are some specific things one can easily use to know that this thing is not, especially one that is not too conversant with computer? Because like you are mentioning, where you can have access to some software that you copy the link to. What if I don't have that mixed? Thank you.
Okay. So let's
I hope you got the question.
Let's attend to these three questions first so that we don't miss it. You can take more questions. So the first question is, in a situation whereby there are is OS that are not genuine, and so how do we secure network of such environments? So Mr. Atunji, do you want to answer that question? Mr. Atunji, do you want to answer that question? Okay, so Mr. Atunji, if you're not there, let me, is it not there? Mr. Atunji, panelist. Oh, I don't know why it's off. Okay, let me answer the question. First of all, there is hello, I'm coming. Hold on, please, a minute. Okay, so please, can we please mute our mic? Okay, let me just mute everybody once and for all so that we can enjoy ourselves. First of all, there's no any solution to using pirated software. What I know is that pirated software on its own is not malicious, but every software that is original has a connectivity to the infrastructure of the original manufacturer of that software. For instance, if you are using Windows 10 and Windows 10 is original, it means that the owner of Windows 10 is able to remotely update your Windows 10 with the latest patch as they are coming in. Some of the patches might be the patches to manage vulnerability or patches to prevent attack. But if your software is not original, your software is disconnected from the services that is being run by the original owner of the software. So there is no any protection for you, but having that software not being original does not mean that you are already having an attacker, but you could be exposed to attack, because what could have prevented you from time to time, as the attacker are coming up with new devices and new technology, so also the manufacturer of the software is also coming up with new defenses, and these defenses are remotely sent to your software to update your software. So that is that you are cut off. So my advice is endeavor to always get original software and ensure that that is the practice. Outside of even litigation, the original owner of the software can also sue you to court for piracy or for illegal usage of their product. Then you are talking about for students who want to have access to some software and they are expensive, so they have no choice than to go for free of charge ones. Yes, I know it's difficult for students to have all the resources to acquire the materials that he needs to study with. It's always unfortunate that it happens to some of us in this part of the world where materials availability is a challenge. But that does not actually roll away your sense of responsibility by ensuring that you don't go for pirated software. But there are some software that they say they are free and they are open source. Open source means that they are open for improvement, they are open for advancement. People can go there and upgrade the software. Those software are actually a kind of an honeypot. Honeypot means a pot that is an attractor to of victims. What, for instance, when you do a trap, you put when you do rat trap, you put some what rat like crayfish, anything that smells that can attract rats. So honeypot is what attracts victims. So that I think I'm not correct, but what I'm trying to say is that most of this open source software could be a trip, could be a place where you can go and have your system compromised for as much as you can avoid. But if you must use open source, try and find out people's comments on that open source. For instance, if I want to do anything new, I will go to the internet and search people's comment on it. Like some of my friends come to meet me that there's one software they can use to borrow loan. And I say, okay, let me help you do analysis. And I went to the internet and I typed people's comment on so app. And I was shocked what people are saying. Very, very discouraging. And I told my friend, don't download this app. See people's comments. So you can do as a lot of people pass their comment on whatever thing they experience. You can learn from it. Then the third question is mass dissemination of messages. This is also very rampant, where you will see on a group, they will say send it to 20 people, send to 30 people. As you are sending, and so as you are sending to people, the person who will say that you send is harvesting the contact of people you are sending it to. And it is now able to have a lot of people to spread its attack to. So if it is not important, don't send to many people. Me, I don't believe in send to 20 people and God will bless you. When there was no GSM, when there was no WhatsApp, has God not been blessing us before? So why should I have to start using WhatsApp to attract God's blessing? God is a merciful God. Even if you don't send anything to anybody, when God has decided to bless you, He will bless you. So that's the answer to the question. Any other question, please? Another question? Any other question? Hello, are we there? Hello.
Hello, sir. Seems you mute everyone. So maybe
No.
you need to unmute.
No, I don't. They're not muted. They're not muted. They can talk.
Okay, my question goes like this. My name is Rosalie. My question goes like this. In a network or an organization's network where there is DOS attack, what are the measures to retrieve that network back from the attackers? That is one. Then secondly, most times when you're trying to, let me assume you're trying to log into a new site or maybe a school application or any applications, most times they tell you, do you want to save your password? That's to your system or wherever, or to your Google, wherever. So what I'm trying to know, is it safe to always click on that save your password, or just ignore and all that?
Yeah.
So you get my
Yes, I got a question. Thanks very much for the question. The first question is, when there is a DDoS attack, what should you do to arrest the situation? The number two is all these application that says remember my password or remember my credential, whether it is safe. Let me start from the second question. For as long as your system does not get to another hand, it is somehow safe to use those features where your password is stored locally. But the moment your system gets to somebody's hand, the legal user, the person would not be prompted to log on again because the system has memorized your password. So from that account, it is not a good practice. So I don't encourage people to always ask a software to remember their password, because it is good if you are very sure that from time to time and forever, that system will never get to your wrong hand. What of if the system is stolen when you're on your way home? What of if the system went to for repair and the person who is repairing it tried to access it and the password was not prompted because it has memorized the password? So I don't think that is advisable. My advice is always try to ensure you use a password you can easily remember, but also make it complex. Thank you. Number two, the number one question, which is how to arrest.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Sorry, sir, please, 1 minute. Okay, you said you can easily, as long as your laptop doesn't get to a wrong hand.
Yes.
Okay, that is, apart from that, hackers, can't they find a way of getting your password through your Google accounts, whatever?
Yeah, yes.
Is it possible?
Yeah, yes. It's that. See, Thomas Mueller is a former FBI director. He said there are two types of people. Number one is those that have been already hacked. Number two is those that will be hacked. There is no any 100% secure situation in the world. Nobody. American election was hacked by Russia. So don't ever believe that. He said, don't ever believe that everything is secure. So if Google, as sophisticated as they are, as knowledgeable as they are, as rich as they are, if they guarantee you that your password is secure with them, take it with a pinch of salt. Google can also be hacked, but it is going to be a difficult thing for an attacker to hack Google, but it is possible. So my advice, you will not hear me say black and white, say it is black or white. I will be in between. My advice is, if you can have your password stored in your brain yourself, that should be the first, that should be the only option you should take. So if you want your password, if you want to use different password on different platforms, let it be stored in your brain and make it complex, but use what you can easily remember. There's many times, one of the most used tool for me on internet is forgot password. I always forget my password because there are so many. But I know that I can always choose an option that says forget password, and it will take me the process of another password. And at that point, I will learn the new password. I will put another one. I will remember in the next 4 months, 6 months, I will forget. But I don't mind the stress of clicking remember password or recover your forgotten password. So answer is nothing is 100% secure, nothing is 100% safe. So the safety and security of yourself on internet is 100% your responsibility. Yeah. So I'm going to say on the DDoS attack. DDoS means denial of service attack, and it's also technically called sync flood attack. It's an attack whereby a system or a software or an application send thousands, millions of traffic to a web server for web server to treat and to respond. So when the web server is being choked with tons of requests in a slice of time, the resources of that web server is exhausted. Resources such as memory space, such as processing power. When it's exhausted, the server freezes or is shut down. So if you notice that there is a SIM flood attack at the moment, the first thing to do is to, first of all, isolate the network that take it to the public domain. That means the attacker to attack you from the public. Then do a notification to your stakeholder that network will be off for some minutes. Then try and identify from which of the ports that was open that the attack is coming from. And you need to actually block the ports, and also look for which of the application to the analysis of the log on your firewall, which of the application or web services is sending such traffic, and block such website or such application from your firewall. Then once that is done, you can now return your network back so that your colleague can now continue with their business. I hope that is clear enough for you to understand.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Another
Thank
question?
you. I can see Mr. Bimbo raising his hands.
Yeah, so Mr. Bimbo, sorry, because of time, I can take just 2 more questions because we'll be spending 2 hours in the next 40 minutes on this call, and we still have some other businesses to attend to. So Bimbo, and probably 1 more question, then any other question, you can send it to us, then we'll be happy to reply you through email what the answers are to the question. So Mr. Bimbo, please go ahead with your question. Hello?
Is Bimbo still there?
It's not there.
Okay, no problem. As an addendum to the question asked regarding the saving passwords, just a small thing. He has answered, he has told you in clear terms that it's better not to save passwords on the website, on your browser. It's just the best thing. Anybody can have access to it, and that will be the end. Even remotely, it doesn't have to be that your laptop can be taken over. It can be taken over remotely. And once it's taken over remotely, the person will be working. Your laptop will be on, and the person will be working, taking over your desktop, and that will be the end. Every login they make becomes authentic. You are the one that logged in. So it's always better not to save those passwords on those apps. So like he said, remember your password. It's always the best thing to do. Remember your password always. In the absence of any other question, may I say a big thank you to Nobody Agbola. Let me say something here. When we hear cybersecurity, we go experts, computer guru. I don't think it's like that. You can be an expert without being a guru as a computer guru. Mr. Olabode, who has just made the presentation now, is not an engineer, nor is he a scientist. Mr. Olabode, am I correct?
Is that what, sir?
I'm saying that you don't have to be a computer scientist, a computer guru to be a cybersecurity conscious or aware or knowledgeable. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, it is. Sincerely, it is. Though me, I studied computer science in my first degree at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK, and I studied computer security and forensic at my master University of Bedfordshire in the UK, and I graduated with distinction. But Mr. Toji, who just spoke to us now, studied mathematics in university. Mathematics. So there are a lot of people who are experts who do not study computer science, and they are experts. You can be expert. In fact, cybersecurity actually has so many divisions. We have GRC. GRC means governance, risk, and compliance. You don't have to study computer science before you can become a GRC. All you need to do is just be able to understand what policy says, how to ensure that the policy is followed, how to develop policy, how to do risk assessment, how to ensure the treatment of the risk are followed. So there are people who are actually GRC, and they are not deep technical guys. But technical knowledge, no matter how small, will still help you. But to be an expert, like you said, you don't have to be a cybersecurity expert or computer scientist. You can just pick any of the career in cybersecurity and you follow. So thank you very much, Mr. Waheed. You are correct.
Thank you very much, sir. Sorry for the mix-up. But the most important thing I wanted to bring out is that cybersecurity is everybody's job.
Yes.
You have to protect yourself before you can protect the company. If you don't know how to protect yourself, you are exposed, the company is exposed. And that is why, because the weakest link, I mean, you are as good as your weakest link.
That's correct.
Network is as good as your weakest link. So if everybody is weak, then everybody is weak. That's just how it is. So I will say a big thank you to Mr. Olabode Bola again and Mr. Tunji Ibala Jobi. We are very grateful. We are also very grateful to the cyber security expert of System Nigeria, CSEAN, that has done the presentation for us. They have made our director of training, Mr. Olabode, available and assisted by Mr. Tunji. So, well, I will also want to thank those from the zonal offices, most especially Lagos. I can see many of them there. Thank you very much for joining me. Those who have come to the hall here, have witnessed this. I want to thank Crescent. You can see the multimedia here was provided by Crescent. And if you are interested, it's for us to use all the time, by God's grace. Thank you very much. Mr. Labode.
Thank you very much. Finally, before you go, let me just ask a question, if you don't mind. From those who attended through multimedia, do you have an estimate of how many they are? How many are they? Do you have an estimate?
Actually, I just checked through now and I saw that 28 participants attended.
No, that's
28 participants.
Okay, on the through multimedia.
Zoom. Yes, but that's if you count me minus you and them.
Through a Zoom, we are about 37 before, so people reduced to the left.
So I know I counted 31 at the point. So
but what about through the multimedia? Those who watch from the projector.
The register here, we have about 45. 2 people just came in, they didn't write their name.
Okay, 45. Okay, sir.
46 people.
46 people. Thank you very much. Just for our record, 46 people. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so just trust it on us. Anytime you want us to come around again, we're always there to assist. I'm always there to come around. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Welcome.
Yeah.